Hello everyone, I am back with the new video. Today I am telling about the human circulatory system. The human circulatory system is basically contributed by the heart and blood. The heart and blood are major parts of the circulatory system. All components contribute to oxygen and nutrients delivery throughout your body and combined with the cardiovascular system. The circulatory system helps fight off disease, helps the body maintain a normal body temperature and provides the right chemical balance for the body to achieve homeostasis or a state of stability among all its system. The circulatory system consists of four major components, that is hearts, arteries, veins, blood. Let's talk about the heart and its function. About the size of two adult hands held together, the heart rests near the center of the chest, and thanks to consistent pumping, the heart keeps the circulatory system working at all time. The next is heart wall. There are three layers of the heart wall. First is the epicardium, is the heart wall outer layer. The next is myocardium, is in the middle and muscular layer, and the endocardium is the heart innermost layer. The next is chambers. The heart has four chambers, the right and left atria and the right and left ventricle. Together they make up the heart's internal cavity. The four chambers play an important role in a circulation. The artery receive blood from the veins while the ventricle push blood out of the heart, because the ventricles have to be much stronger to perform this pumping activity. Their myocardial layer are thicker than those of the artery. Then the arteries and their function. Arteries carries blood away from the heart. The artery walls have three layers. First one is tunica intima, that is inner layer, tunica media, that is middle layer, and tunica externa, that is outer layer. The middle layer is usually the thickness. It's made up of smooth muscle that changes the size of the artery to regulate blood flow. There are three main types of arteries. They get smaller and smaller the further they are from the heart. Then elastic arteries. The aorta and pulmonary arteries are the elastic arteries. They receive blood directly from the heart and need to be elastic to accommodate the surge and contraction as the blood pushes through with each heartbeat. The aorta is the body's most important artery. Pulmonary arteries take deoxygenated blood from the right ventricles to the lungs. There are the only arteries that carry deoxygenated blood. Muscular arteries. The muscular arteries move blood from the elastic arteries through the body. They are made up of smooth muscle which can expand the contract as the blood flows. The femoral and coronary arteries are two examples of the muscular arteries. The next is arterioles. The arterioles is the smallest artery are the arterioles, which move blood from the muscular arteries to the capillaries. The capillaries connect the arteries which take blood from the heart and the veins which take blood to the hearts. The number of capillaries in a body system depends on the amount of material exchange. Skeletal muscle, the liver and the kidney all have a large number of capillaries because their body system needs a lot of oxygen and nutrients. Uh, the eye, the cornea of the eye is one of area that has no capillaries. Then next is the veins and their function. The blood moves back to the heart through veins. The blood travels from the capillaries into the venules, which are the smallest vein. As the blood moves closer to the heart, the veins get larger and larger. Like the arteries, veins have walls which is made up of layers called the tunica intima, tunica media and tunica externa. There are some important difference between the arteries and veins. In veins, the walls have less smooth muscle and connective tissue. The walls of the veins and they are thinner than artery walls. Veins have a less pressure and it can hold more blood than the arteries. At any time, about 70% trusted source of the body total body supply is the in the vein. The next is valves. The veins include valves, smaller pieces of tissue which keep blood flowing in the right direction. The valves in the medium and large veins keep the blood flowing towards the heart. In the arms and legs, these valves make sure gravity doesn't pull blood flow in the wrong direction. There are four valves in our heart. The tricuspid wall separates the right atrium from the right ventricle. The mitral wall of bicuspid wall separate the left atrium from the left ventricle. Then next is the remaining of two walls are the semilunar walls. The pulmonary wall or pulmonary wall separate the pulmonary artery from the right ventricles. The aorta wall separates the aorta and left ventricle. The blood and its function. Blood is the transport medium of nearly everything within the body. It moves hormones, nutrients, oxygen and antibodies and other important things needed to keep the body healthy. Then next is the blood has a four main components. Plasma, about 55% of the blood is plasma. Plasma is what makes blood liquid. Plasma moves blood cells through the body by the way of circulatory system. It also carries hormones, nutrients, antibodies and waste products. Plasma is basically made up of water, salt, fat, protein, red blood cells. Red blood cells, also called erythrocytes, make up about the 40 to 45% of the blood volume. These cells have no nucleus, which means they can easily change its shape as they move through the body arteries and in our veins. Red blood cells contain a protein called hemoglobin. It carries oxygen from the lungs to the rest part of the body and returns carbon dioxide to our lungs where it's exhale. Then next is white blood cells. White blood cells, also called leukocytes, make up just 1% of the blood. They protect the body from infection. There are 5 major types of white blood cells. Most white blood cells are neutrophils, which live for less than 1 day. Neutrophils are the body immediate response team. Types of lymphocytes include 8 lymphocytes. They are numbered in 8 cells, and T lymphocytes, that is T cells. B lymphocytes make antibodies while the T lymphocyte regulates other immune cells and target infected cells and as well as tumors. Then the other major types are the basophils, eosinophils and monocytes. Then next is we will talk about the platelets. Platelets, also called as thrombocytes, are cell fragments. Platelets are essential for the blood clotting the stick to an injured blood vessel lining to provide the basis for a clot. This stops bleeding and promotes the healing function. Then we will talk about the how the circulatory system work. Oxygen, first of all, oxygen enters into the bloodstream through the tiny membranes in the lungs that absorb oxygen as it's inhaled. As the body uses oxygen and process nutrients, it creates carbon dioxide which your lungs expel as you exhale. The circulatory system works thanks to constant pressure from the heart and valves throughout the body. This pressure ensures that the veins carry blood to the heart and arteries transport it away from the heart. There are three different types of circulation that occur regularly in our body. First one is pulmonary circulation. This part of the cycle carries oxygen depleted blood away from the heart to the lungs and back to the heart. The next is systematic circulation. This is the part that carries oxygenated blood away from the heart and to other parts of the body. The next is coronary circulation. This type of circulation provides the heart with oxygenated blood so it can function it properly. Arteries and veins may be classified as pulmonary, systematic, or coronary circulation. The pulmonary arteries take blood with the low levels of oxygen from the right ventricles to the lungs. Pulmonary veins move oxygen rich blood from the lungs to the heart, left atrium. Systematic arteries take oxygen rich blood from the left ventricle to the body's tissue. Systemic veins move blood with the low levels of oxygen from the body tissue to the heart, right atrium. Coronary arteries take oxygen rich blood from the aorta to the heart muscle. Coronary veins move blood with low levels of oxygen from the heart's myocardium, middle muscular layer, to its right atrium. Then we will talk about the disease regarding about the circulatory system, or which condition that affects our circulatory system. There are several conditions that can be affect in the heart and circulatory system, including peripheral arterial disease. In this disease, the blood flow in the arteries of the legs is restricted. This is usually due to the buildup of plaque in the arteries. The next is arteriosclerosis. In arteriosclerosis, plaque buildup in the blood vessel becomes calcified and hard. The arteries are less flexible, leading to higher blood pressure, stroke, heart damage, and kidney damage. The next is heart attack. During the heart attack, a blockage of blood flow to the heart muscle leads to death of the heart muscle tissue. It's also known as myocardial infarction. The next is angina. In the angina, the heart muscle isn't getting enough blood. This leads to crushing chest pain, fatigue, nausea, and shortness of the breath. Then next is mitral wall condition. In mitral wall prolapse, mitral wall stenosis, or mitral wall regurgitation problems with the mitral wall cause oxygenated blood in the heart to flow backward, or blood flow to the slow down or constricted. Arrhythmias or dysarrhythmias, these are terms are both used to describe a heart rate that's abnormal. Ischemia, in ischemia there are not enough blood flow in our heart and muscle don't get the enough oxygen. The next disease is aortic disease. This group of condition affects the aorta. One example is aortic aneurysm, where the aorta is weak and bulks will be out. This is all about the circulatory system and its diseases. Thank you.